Hi, this is Lynn Shuck, and I'm going to show you two really simple ways to start to strengthen the side body. A lot of times the only thing people think of for side body is a full-on side plank, and we don't have the strength or the ability to be there, and maybe it's just not an even appropriate thing to be working on in the space you're in. But here's two very simple ways to start to build that ability. These are also going to create some mobility in your spine, these first two. And so that's what we're going to be doing, just these two, and I call them regressions. They're not side plank. They're not even close to side plank. They're where you can start. So you sit with your legs folded off to the side, your arm roughly under your shoulder. I'm not really trying to line things up any particular way. I'm not trying to I'm just sitting. If this bothers your wrist, you could come up under your fingertips, or you could put a block under the heel of your hand, or a book if you've got a book, or roll something up. I don't recommend knuckles. This does weird things to the wrists because of the movement we're going to be making. So this is the whole movement. You're going to let your rib cage curve toward your supporting arm. Your shoulder's going to go up, and then you're going to pull your ribs away from that supporting arm, push into the floor. You're trying to curve the spine here. So ribs move toward your arm, ribs move away from your arm. As I'm doing this, my shoulder goes up, my shoulder goes down. As I'm doing this, my hip pushes down to the floor, my hip lifts up. So actually, hip goes down at the same time the shoulder goes down, hip comes up when the shoulder comes up. And I want to move as far in each direction, actually curving the spine. I like to imagine somebody grabbing my ribs and pulling them away, so I really contract this side of the body. You can do this anywhere that you are comfortable sitting on the floor. That's it. We'll do the other side. And again, I'm not too worried about the positioning of my legs. My hand is sort of under my shoulder, roughly. You might lift the hand up onto a block or come onto your fingertips, but you're trying to get those ribs to move as far in each direction as you can so the spine is actually curving. This is loading the hip joint a little bit, the weight moving over your hip and thigh. So for the second progression, this may be easier or harder. These are not necessarily in an order of this first and this second. They're just two different versions of a similar movement. We're going to take that same rough position and come down onto the forearm. I don't care how your hand is, palm, edge of the hand, fist, whatever. It's the same movement though, only now think in relation to the floor instead of in relation to that supporting arm. You're going to let your ribs relax down toward the floor, and then you're going to push into your arm and pull your ribs high up off the floor. My hips are still staying on the floor. Hips are moving, shoulder is moving, right? As I lower the ribs, my hip comes up, my shoulder comes up. As I press into my arm, my ribs lift, my hip will come down, my shoulder will come down. I will take the same thing on the other side. Again, I'm not too worried about the angle of these legs. You can work with them more straight. You can have them bent slightly forward. They are bent legs though. And we're going to let the ribs drop toward the floor, and we're going to push the ribs away from the floor, trying to really curve them up. You can see there's curve in my spine there. I'm not just lifting a little bit. I'm really trying to pull my ribs away from the floor. Hip is moving, shoulder is moving. And again, I'm loading that hip joint with weight, just moving weight around on that hip in a way that normally is not happening in my daily life. Alrighty. So those are the first two regressions, and they're simple ways to start to build strength in the sides of your body, to create mobility in your spine, and to wake up some muscles you probably haven't used in a long time. Go to it, have a good time with them.